Monday. Happy Monday. Hey guys, how's it going? I don't know. Welcome to another episode of the Viall Files. I'm Nick. This is Rochelle.
Hello.
Here we are. Happy November, Rochelle.
Yes. Oh, I love the fall.
Even in LA?
Well, it's been so hot, but I just like a good sweater and a good pumpkin spice latte.
I agree, but you're from Arizona, are you not?
Oh, yeah.
And so I grew up in Wisconsin, so like when
You
people
had a real fall.
Yeah, I'm just curious. It was so stark in terms of like
Right.
from summer to fall. Like it was a noticeable difference. And coming here, it's like my parents would call me up like, "Are you coming home for Thanksgiving?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, it's Thanksgiving!"
You
like
won't
in a
even
week.
remember.
Because this like the seasons, I'll forget. I was so used to like this considerable drastic change. I still listen to local sports radio.
Yeah.
And they'll like from where I'm from.
Yeah.
And so they'll do the weather and I'll like, oh man, it's like 35 degrees and raining today. And I'm outside running with my shirt off, in LA. So.
The whole city's on fire.
But you still like...
You know, those 10 degrees of difference really do it for me.
It's all relative, I guess.
It is.
And the holidays are coming up, the holiday blues.
You get sad during the holidays?
No, I mean, it depends. I mean, for the most part, I like it, but...
Yeah. What are the holiday blues?
People in relationships, or they're sad, the expectations of so much expectations around holidays. Do you think people, and then Christmas is sometimes isn't the same as it was when you were a kid?
Oh, that is sad.
Right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, you've never heard of them.
I get sad on every holiday, but I thought it was just me.
No, I think it's everyone. You know what sometimes makes you feel good?
What?
Amazing jewelry.
Oh, that'll make anybody feel better.
And jewelry you can feel good about.
Exactly.
Why? Because it's not
reclaimed gold.
I wanted to say recycled, but reclaimed gold.
Yes, and
what does that mean?
And the diamonds are from conflict-free places.
And if you haven't seen Blood Diamond, do yourself a favor, because it really paints a probably realistic picture about what's going on.
You guys were talking about Noemi, our sponsor.
Noemi.
Jewelry you can feel good about.
Yeah. They reclaim 18 karat gold, a sustainable option with the perfect balance of strength and purity. Yeah.
What's cool is you used to have to go to jewelry stores to get jewelry, and you're getting jewelry that's super marked up. It's confusing. You have salespeople. Now you can get your jewelry online for a better price. And
Rochelle would know this. Why?
This is shocking. I used to work at a jewelry store, and I had no idea what I was doing.
But you were just selling just overpriced jewelry to everybody.
So overpriced. He's like, you can give them 20% off if you want. I was like, really? It doesn't make that big of a difference? So... Got the inside scoop for you guys.
Much about you. Well, they have a 5-star rating and thousands of online reviews, so you can feel good about purchasing from Noemi. Noemi is the safest place to buy jewelry online. It's an incredible option. I've seen it. It looks wonderful. And again, you can feel good about it. You're doing good in the world by looking beautiful with wonderful quality jewelry. Well, if you're looking for the finest jewelry from a luxury brand you can trust, look no further. Go to hellonoemi.com/VIALL to see their collection and get $50 off your first purchase with promo code VIALL. That's an even better deal on top of spending a fraction of what you would pay for other luxury brands. Just go to hellonoemi.com/VIALL. And don't forget to use promo code VIALL for $50 off your first purchase. Oh, well, you know what? Thanksgiving is around the corner. And what comes with Thanksgiving? Holiday shopping.
Shopping
online. And if you don't have honey when shopping online,
yes,
you're literally burning money.
Oh, wow. Did that rhyme?
Did it?
I think.
I said it with conviction. I think that's...
But yeah, if you're doing holiday shopping online, download Honey. It's a free browser extension. It just goes on your computer and then it looks for codes so you don't have to search for them.
Codes. And like I said, on Natural Habits, I'm going to be honest, there are some codes that I forget to expire that are out there that you could probably save some money if you remembered the code. Well, we've both saved money with Honey.
Yeah, I bought my mom a sweater on J.Crew because I'm a very early gift buyer and I saved $20.
You've gotten holiday gifts already?
Yes, I love buying gifts and I love doing it early. What? Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm impressed. That's amazing. I'm gonna
It's one of my few good qualities, giving gifts.
You think you only have a few good qualities?
Yes.
Well, that's not true. It is amazing. Again, it's free to use, easy to install. If you're buying gifts this holiday season, then you need honey. If you're not, you probably know someone who is. So do them a solid and tell them about honey. Honey can help you make sure that you're getting the best price for whatever you're buying. It's free to use and installs in just 2 clicks. Get honey for free at joinhoney.com/VIALL. That's joinhoney.com/VIALL. Don't burn money, just get honey.
So your Halloween costume was a big hit, it looked like. Pilot Pete,
It played, yeah.
the Band-Aid.
The
Good.
Band-Aid, good idea,
Thank you.
Rochelle. I got a text from one of the producers.
You did? What'd
who
they
said, just move it slightly to the left, hit up, and it'll be totally authentic.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it.
Did everyone get it at the party?
A few people.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like. It was a great gift because it was so easy to put together.
Right.
So easy. It costed like $30.
Right.
I didn't really have to change much or apply makeup, and it, at the same time was also a bit of a hit.
Yeah,
worked
women
out.
love a man in uniform, even if it's fake.
I gotta say, yeah, they do. They do indeed. Well, anyways, great episode today. A lot of fun questions. I think we really hopefully help some people.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Enjoy.
So as always, sending your questions to asknick@castmedia.com. Send us in your reviews. Check us out on Wednesday. A really
This one.
good episode
Good,
with
good.
one Kaylin Miller Keys.
Yes.
Better known as Dean's better half.
Better known.
Oh.
She's her own person.
But I said better half.
Better half.
No, it was a great episode. I think it was Kaylin's kind of first. Well, not really. We just got into it, and not into it in a negative way, but she was very honest and open and vulnerable.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the conversation.
I
thought it
was
really
nervous
interesting.
the whole time.
Yeah, I guess.
I was. It's just like we talked about like big subjects.
Yeah, and I thought she was very vulnerable. And I know like sometimes Caitlin has been criticized of not being real or whatever. I thought she was very real in our conversation, and I really enjoyed having her. So I hope you guys enjoy listening. Check us out, and until then, enjoy this episode first and foremost, and then check us back out on Wednesday. Anyways, let's get to it.
Question time with Nick. Let's ask Nick your sexy questions.
How's it going?
Hi, my name is Alex, and I'm 26.
How's it going, Alex?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. How are you, Rochelle?
Good.
Great. Alex, how can we help?
So I'm calling about a specific situation that recently happened to me, but it kind of alludes to a more general question that happens a lot with women, I think.
Okay, so let's focus on your specific, and we'll get into it.
Great. So around this time last year, I met a guy. We hit it off, hung out a handful of times. The last time I saw him was actually New Year's Eve. It was his idea to stay in and hang out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great night. Thought after that it would become a little more serious. And then he told me that he wasn't looking for anything serious. So that was that. And then recently in August, he started reaching out to me again, asking to see me, take me out on a date. And at first it was like, no, I don't like this.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a little desperate, but he was like really persistent, and I really did like him, and we had a good connection. So we went on another date 2 weeks ago. It was great, but now I'm kind of confused, like what like the motive is of
Mm-hmm.
like reaching back out after so much time.
How long did you guys hang out? How long were you hanging out leading up to the whole New Year's Eve overnight? Was it an overnight date?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. How serious was that in your mind?
It was like 2 to 3 months since we like began hanging out. But we really only hung out maybe 4 times. But it was like kind of spread out over a few months. But after New Year's Eve, I really was like, well, now I have a boyfriend.
Oh.
Okay.
Guess not.
Was it immediately, was it literally like New Year's Day? It was like, listen, here's the thing. New year, new me, and I need to be free of you? or was it like,
No.
did it like happen, a couple weeks later?
So what I like typically do is I like to go with the flow and like wait for the other person to like say like, this is what I want. So after New Year's Eve, he was the one who reached out first, and like he was really like texting me every day. And then I guess maybe like 2 weeks after New Year's Eve, I like kind of realized he wasn't making an effort to like hang out again. So I was like, hey, let's hang out. And he had an excuse. And then at some point I was like, what is going on? And then he gave me the whole spiel of not looking for anything serious. So that was that.
How old is he?
25.
He said he wasn't over his ex, right?
Yeah, he did. We had this like really long talk about how he didn't think that he should date at all. Even though I know he like dated after me. So,
I mean, sure. But like when you say, he dated, you mean he went out with, not just to play devil's advocate. It sounds like you guys were somewhat serious. You were dating for a few months, somewhat regularly. It was progressing towards something. I mean, technically, for all you know, he just casually dated for the past year and never really connected with anyone, like didn't see anyone on an ongoing basis. I'm just saying, like, someone can say, I don't think I'm ready to date and like move into a relationship, but still like grab drinks with someone and have, they could have, that's as long as they're honest about where they are, it's possible. What was he saying when he jumped back?
I think it was all casual.
Yeah.
After that. So.
I only say that because I wouldn't take that like that.
Yeah.
Like I know he did that and now I feel like he lied to me. I mean, maybe technically not, it's not like he didn't have to like break up with you and go into a cave in hibernation and deal with this breakup kind of thing. He could have been honest with you by saying, I'm not emotionally ready to move forward with this because I'm not over that past relationship. It could be a line, it could be legit. I mean, you don't want to be in a relationship with a guy who's still thinking about his ex. You want him to deal with that. I would.
Yeah, it seems really genuine, and we had like a really long conversation about it. So things didn't end on a sour note, and every once in a while, like he would send me a meme or something. So like it was not a big deal. Like my ego was hurt a little, but.
So now that he's backing your life, he's kind of pursued you. You gave in, so to speak, because you like him. Right. What was that first date like? Was it filled with? Did you ask him? Were you playing it cool, like, oh, we'll see where it goes, or were you kind of like, yeah, I mean, I like you, but what's different?
I went with the flow as I usually do, and I'm not the type of person to say like, so where is this going? And I'm kind of afraid of rejection in that way. So I just, went on the date and went in with no expectations, but it was really great. Like we went out for drinks and we were out for like 6 hours, just like catching up and talking. And it was really refreshing and nice.
Where are you guys? Where did you leave things now? Like how do you feel now? What are the next steps with this guy?
So I stayed the night with him, and the next morning he was like, I'm so happy we like met up again. And then I like left, went about my day. He texted me first, and then during the next week he texted me saying that he was going to be away for the weekend, but he wished we could hang out, and he wanted to hang out the following weekend. Okay. So we made plans, and then he canceled, and now I'm just like kind of confused, like.
So after he canceled, there was no like, oh, sorry, I have this very legitimate excuse of why I have to cancel, but also let's hang out. at this specific date? He just canceled.
Yeah, well, he kind of said like, "Oh, I would make it up to you," but hasn't like really been like, "Okay, let's hang out this day or this weekend."
How long? How long ago did he cancel? How many days ago?
It was not this past weekend, but the following weekend or the prior weekend.
And you haven't really heard from him since?
No, he like Snapchats me all the time and texts me things and sends me stuff on Twitter. Like he's constantly in contact.
Do you always reply?
But no.
You don't always reply?
No.
That's fine. No, that's great. Yeah. Why don't you always reply? I'm just curious what your motives are.
Well, I think he's like hanging out with somebody else, like another girl.
What makes you think that?
Well, I know that over the summer he was like seeing somebody because him and his friends like rent a beach house. Mm-hmm. So he like met a girl by the beach. They hung out. But I think it's kind of like overlapping now to like, you know, we're back to reality. She lives in a different city, but he definitely visited her.
How do you know so much?
How do you know that?
Yeah. Well, he like Snapchats me frequently. Uh-huh. So like I knew he was in New York and I knew this girl was from New York.
But how do you know so much about this girl?
It's called research, Nick.
I want to hear
the pieces
I want to hear her say how good of research she is.
I mean, he's friends with her on Facebook, so
okay, so you've done some light to heavy internet stalking. Yes.
What did you say?
You've done some heavy internet stalking.
Yeah, of course.
It's
I
capital.
have to vet him out again.
She's trying to figure it out.
He's definitely seeing somebody, and like he's not like hiding it. Like I knew he was like there visiting that girl, and I said something, and he like kind of laughed it off, but like still proceeded to like text me and like all that stuff.
Yeah. Listen, it's kind of back to the whole cool chick kind of thing we talk a lot about on this show. It is such a balance and a fine line between being, chill, seeing where things go, not jumping to conclusions and expectations on the first couple dates with anyone. That's totally reasonable. That's totally normal. Totally reasonable and totally normal to date someone for a couple months without, needing to define the relationship and asking what are we immediately. But there is that point, people will ask, well, how quickly can I define a relationship? Well, that really is on you as long as you have to be willing to get to know the person. There's no set date in terms of like, well, after 2 dates, you should define the relationship. But if you know that you are objective and that you can go on a date and you're not just falling for every nice guy, every guy who goes out to you who's kind of nice to you, it's like, because a lot of people do that. They'll go out and it's like, wow, we had a really nice time and I think I love him, and then it doesn't work out. And then you go on another date and then everyone has these friends and like, well, I had a really nice time. I think I really like them. It's they like everyone who's kind of nice to them. I'm not getting that vibe from you, so if you seem reasonable that like this, like last year, it seemed like it was a very reasonable timeline and it didn't work out the way you had hoped and it doesn't sound like you necessarily did anything wrong. Now, at this point, you said, well, when you reached back out, I wanted to play it cool and I didn't want to like, at that point, I think you have every right to say, hey, I'm cool. I'm totally chill, but at the same time, like, that's fine. You weren't over your past relationship. That's fine. But like, he told you things in the past about why he didn't want to keep hanging out. So it's totally reasonable for you to like hold him accountable for the things he said in the past, right? Check in. Oh, are you over your ex? What's different about now? Like, that's great, but are you just bored and you want to see me? Or like, I don't want to, I'm comfortable I am, but I'm also just not, I don't want to do what we did for 3 months and have it end the same way. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
And there is a balance between being, quote unquote, the crazy falling in love too fast versus saying, well, I know my self-worth. And, if you really are serious about this, we can seriously look into it and try to figure out if there's still something there. And there's such a subtlety between it. But I think a lot of it is just trusting your gut. And like, if they're going to say something to you, you can hold them accountable for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he's talked about his ex, he's talked about not wanting to be in a serious relationship. Those are kind of, I don't want to say trigger phrases or trigger words, but it's not as if you're two people who've gone on a couple dates and you went to the movies and you went mini golfing and now you're like, I want to know what we are. Like, that's not what this is. You spent New Year's Eve together, which is kind of it's a moment. It's a
romantic.
You do that with seemingly people that you're, having feelings for. He asked you it's a milestone, if you will. You're spending the night together. You're hanging out on a regular basis. That's totally reasonable. And then for someone to like have a conversation with you saying, listen, I feel like you're liking me. I don't know if I don't want anything serious. Oh, by the way, there's this girl I'm not over, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, that's fine. That could all be true. And he has every right to then do whatever he wants. He can have a bunch of sex, for all you know, 3 weeks later after he said it to you, he could be ready to date again. Like, that doesn't make him a liar that he said that and you found out he was dating. But if he's going to pop back in your life, you have every right, and you can still be a cool chick and still say, great, awesome, I'm excited to hear from you. But like, I don't know. You seem like, I don't know if you figured your shit out, and I'm willing to like see, but just so you know, like, I'm not here to just wait around for you. I'm not here to just be available whenever you're available. Because right now I know you've tried, like, you've unfortunately, like, being so cool, you've set this kind of expectation that you are very available for him whenever he wants.
Oh no.
He literally left for 8 months and he had to call you a couple times and beg a couple times for you to go out. He didn't really have to like climb any mountains, so to speak, to, beg for you back. And not that he did anything wrong to have to beg, but it's such a nuance of but trusting your gut. I do think the fact that you are a little obsessed with this guy, and I say obsessed because, and that's okay. We've all been there. Yeah. We've all been obsessed with someone. We've all been obsessed with more than someone, so don't beat yourself up. But when you start, stalking online,
putting the pieces together,
you need to take a step back, because you can't possibly be objective about your feelings for this person and the fact that your ego was a little bit bruised. And when you start doing that, all you want is his validation. And when you start like stalking and you start like trying to figure out who they're hanging out with other than you, then you are literally kind of incapable of holding him accountable to treat you the way you deserve to be treated in any given relationship. Because you're just, at that point, your ego just wants to know you're better than her. You want to know that like he's doing something with someone else and it's not me. And literally, honestly, if he showed up at my doorstep tomorrow, that's fine. I don't really care. I don't really care what was going on, but he chose me over her today.
Yeah, that's actually very true. And also, this girl is like also like 6 feet tall, blonde like me.
Go there.
You know way too much about this girl. Like, it's, that's on you. You need to check yourself a little bit there. You need to know when to say no. I mean, he's a 25-year-old guy. I mean, plenty of 25-year-old guys are ready to settle down. Many more are not. So, he just might not be ready, but you've gotten yourself into a little bit of a rabbit hole with this guy.
Get out of there.
Yeah.
I would take a step back and kind of take your power back in this, because like, you just know the things that you're doing. You can't be in a healthy relationship with this guy knowing for yourself that you've been kind of stalking this other person. Yeah. You really can't. I mean, how can you objectively process your feelings towards him, especially knowing that it's not as if like, you haven't been really dating, you haven't been in a serious relationship, you don't have a history together. I mean, like a history like, I've been dating for a year and a half and we've, sometimes people call in they're engaged or married. You don't really have much of a history with this guy. And so you're doing all these things for a person that you don't really have much. I mean, you spent New Year's Eve together, I would say something differently if this was someone who's just like, we've been engaged, or I've known him for 8 years, and it's still not okay to stalk someone else, but sometimes you don't have much, and so that's on you. And you need to stop that, because you probably created an idea of this person you really have no idea. I mean, what do you really know about this guy? Other than I'm sure you're very familiar with all his activities online and what he's been doing, but you don't really know how he is when things are normal and things are regular and things are, when you hang out, when you feel comfortable, you don't know how he is. So I would stop waiting for him to text you. I wouldn't respond to him at all on Snap. I would just seem like, even though it's not going to be initially, like you have a lot of things going on that you're just too busy for him. You like him. He's great.
I am too busy, which is why I'm trying to figure it out.
But you're making you might very much have a lot going on, but you are making so much time for him, and I mean time in your thoughts in your heads, and you might have 12 hours of shit to do every day, but you're not doing as good as you could because you're thinking about whether he's texting you or not. And then when he does Snapchat you, you're just like, oh, what is he going to say? Is it going to be good? Is he going to make plans? What is this? Oh, he just sent a picture of his, he's a selfie. I don't know. You're really investing a lot of energy and emotion into him. And he has just all this power and he has all this control because you've given it to him. And that's fine. It's normal. You like him, and that's okay. Take some back. I think you just need to step away, because any person you like, you need to, ideally, right? And it's hard to do, but any person you like, when you start stalking, you realize well, I'm confused about how this guy likes me. So I don't know if he likes me, and I know I should know that someone likes me. And that's kind of rule number one for me to invest me into liking them. Right, kind of thing. So you need to just stop that. And when you start stalking him online, you start saying, well, yeah, I'm choosing to do this, but it's kind of it's how he's making me feel that's causing me to do this. So put the blame on that person that you're, liking so much, and saying, well, I don't want to like someone who makes me feel this way.
Yeah.
And so, kind of, yeah. Focus. You are busy. That's great. Focus on that stuff. Set it aside. Don't reply. Don't even open his snaps. Don't even open it. Don't even open them. Just if you want to fuck with them, every 5 days, open them all and don't reply. Just okay. You really shouldn't fuck with them. You should just kind of move on. But be busy. Push him away, and then if he ever comes back, you got to just stop being cool, be very honest about what you want, and then really trust your gut, whether he's just saying it because you're standing up for yourself or he actually feels that way. And he needs to show you for a while, but he's probably not ready. Yeah, he's probably not ready. All right.
Okay.
You're gonna be great.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
All right. Yep.
Better help. Nick's giving great advice, but sometimes you need help.
I mean, we're not professionals. I mean, let's be real here.
100% not professionals.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you just what you're doing wrong. I mean, someone else can tell you why. I kind of tell you why, but I still don't know if it's right.
Yeah.
I'm not a professional.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, we think this is great. Why? Because we encourage people doing the utmost to improve their mental health, and sometimes we can't do it on our own. Sometimes we need professionals, and sometimes that fear of finding one and going out there,
especially when you're feeling down, it's it feels extra hard.
And then you you have to and it's just you may have to make an appointment. Then you have to get in your car, you have to go there, and the first time you do that, all of those steps feel like a big deal. And now you can do them in the comfort of your home. You can do it by simply downloading an app.
And just so you know, financial aid is available for those who qualify. So that is an option.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, again, best of all, it's truly affordable. As Rochelle said, we even have financial aid for those who qualify. The Viall File listeners get 10% off your first month with discount code VIALL. So why not get started today?
Yeah.
If you've ever wondered about getting professional help with your mental health,
Self-esteem.
never been easier.
Family conflicts.
Go to betterhelp.com/VIALL. Simply fill out a questionnaire to help them assess your needs and get matched with a counselor you'll love. That's betterhelp.com/VIALL.
Have you heard of breadcrumbing?
Tell me more. I've not. Maybe I have. I don't know, but I don't know.
It's where you like leave little, like Hansel and Gretel, you leave the breadcrumbs. So that's like the snaps, and the tweets.
He's breadcrumbing her.
Yeah, he's keeping her on the path, going along. But
yeah, don't forget about me.
Yeah, but is there anything at the end of the path? Probably not.
Probably not. I don't think this guy is some sort of malicious fuckboy. I think he might be in a bit of a fuckboy stage of his life.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Are you saying we should forgive the fuckboys?
Sometimes
have pity on them.
Sometimes the fuckboys may not. They have the best intentions.
Okay.
Again, I'm not sitting here making excuse for the fuckboys or the fuckgirls. I mean, it's kind of the same, right? But I think for the most part, a lot of people, in this kind of traditional society we all kind of have, we all want to have the family and get married, so to speak. And right around that age of 25, 26, I think most of us agree that it's kind of that age when we were younger, we kind of decided that that's when we were going to have the family.
Right.
And then we don't. And so again, we've talked about this before, but I'm sure this guy likes her.
Yeah.
And thinks she's great and wants to settle down, but he's probably not ready, and he's kind of struggling with that. And it doesn't make what he's doing okay. But it is on sometimes we, Alex here is hoping for the best and just not really. It's just like, come on, man. Like he's telling you, and you have to listen. And again, dating that first time sounds like everything she told us. Played it cool, a couple months. It didn't work out. Totally normal kind of sequence of events. But then next time, when he comes back, you have every right to just say, hey, I'm cool, but like, why are you here?
And don't sleep with them right away and start getting your feelings all worked up again.
I mean, sure. But I'm just saying I don't want to like judge her for that.
If you like him.
I judge her more for just pretending that never happened and pretending for like not saying, well, okay, fine. Are you over the girl? Are you available? Like, listen, if you want to hang out, that's fine. But I mean, why do you want to hang out with me? Because like, I like you and I'm open to see where this goes, but not if you're just kind of checking in.
Yeah.
And I think that is totally cool, especially if you do have a little bit of a dating history.
Yeah.
Just, you don't have to completely start over. It's not like, oh, well, we dated for 3 months. I haven't seen you in 8 weeks. So now I get to start over again.
Yeah.
And now we get to have casual sex without expectation. That's not the case.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes, maybe guys will be hopeful for that. And then women will be afraid to say that. So if they've said something before, hold them accountable. There's statute of limitations on I'm not ready to date. And then not being able to ask, well, are you ready to date? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Have you done that before?
Gone back to a guy?
Dated a guy.
Oh, yeah.
Dated a guy. He was we're not, I don't know. And then he pops back in.
He popped back in on my birthday, and I was like, he's back. And my friend's like, I don't think this is a good idea. And I'm like, no, he's back. I can't believe he
And you asked
came
no
back.
questions?
No question. He did it again to me. And I was
of course. Yes. There's a great analogy here. I can't think of one, but when I do, of course. Be like, whoa, time out, buddy.
Yeah.
Slow your roll.
Yeah.
Nice to see you, but why are you here?
Yeah.
Why
you here? Why you knocking at my door?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
I am Stacy. I'm 27 years old.
All right. Hi, Stacy, 27. How can we help?
So I wrote into you guys. I have been with my boyfriend for 3 years. Mm-hmm. He is 29 years old. And we are basically a type A and a type B personality dating each other. So
who's type A and type A?
I am the type A. I am very much so a achiever, a very structured person, and biggest thing with that is timeliness. So I'm extremely punctual. I find it to be the most polite thing, and I'm also extremely prepared. So if I'm going to an event or planning something, I think 10 steps ahead of everyone and know basically what everything is needed, what time I need to arrive somewhere. And I hate rushing. I hate rushing anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where we're getting into a conflict between type A, type B. He is basically works for himself, entrepreneur, never had to work for anyone else in his life. So he can basically make his own schedule all the time. He is kind of absent-minded in the sense of how long it takes him to do things. So he gets to be very relaxed, and it's good. It's a good balance. I like someone that kind of chills me out, calms me down compared to my high-strung energy and like my anxiety. But showing up on time to an event together is becoming such a nightmare, or even just showing up on time to a dinner reservation. It becomes such an argument to get out the door on time, where it'll be like, we need to leave in 20 minutes, and he's only just jumping in the shower. So it just drives me absolutely insane. And I just find it really disrespectful to show up to places late, and he's like, we're about to leave, maybe we're going to be 5 minutes late, and he's just like, it's fine, and starts yelling at me that I'm irrational. Like, it's crazy to think that being 5 minutes late to something isn't a big deal. But when it's my friends, me showing up to something, that's where I just get really frustrated.
And is it 5 minutes or is it 30 minutes late?
So it depends. It's gotten a lot better. Like, we've been together for 3 years. If we hadn't figured something better out, this would not have lasted this long. So like this past weekend, I had a friend's engagement party, and I'm a bridesmaid. She asked me to specifically be there 20 minutes early. I knew she had something planned for all the bridesmaids to like formally ask us, give us a little present. So I told him I wanted to leave the house by 3:20, and I was like, firm, communicate it. And then we didn't end up getting there till 3:45 because he was running late. I was the last bridesmaid there. No, it's not a big deal. My friend's pretty relaxed. Like, it's just a party. But it's just like, that's just in my core. Like, that's me as a person. I need to be on time to things.
I get it. Yeah.
So
I think being late it's a thing you can control for the most part. There's,
I'm like her boyfriend because my mind doesn't work like that.
Yeah. And so people are different, right? So I'm with you. And then it's like, if you are going to be late, just let people know. It's kind of my rule of thumb. It's just like, don't be the person who's like, hey, I'm on my way, and you're like, not, you're still. That's just like a general thing. Interestingly enough, but I'm also not a planner. I'm not type A like you on that sense, where I have a family member, not a direct, but I've spent some time with them recently, and they're very structured, and and to the point where it gives me great anxiety, where it's just like 3 or 4 weeks out of something we have kind of plans to do. It's like, so do you know what time we're doing this? I'm like, whoa, man, like, I need you to chill, right? It's so important to you because you find it disrespectful to other people, and therefore you feel like he's disrespecting you because he's not doing what you need him to do in that regard, right? He's probably just like, my guess is you're so gung-ho about this, there's probably a bit of defiance on his part, where he's definitely probably compromised and he's probably done some stuff, but he's probably thinking big picture. He's like, this is honestly not the end of the world. She's going to show up 10 minutes late and everything is going to be fine. And I'm going to show her that, like, I don't think he's actually saying that to himself, but we all, especially after you date someone or you live with someone, you just kind of want to prove a point. And I think you guys are probably in this rabbit hole of doing that. I mean, here's the thing. I know you don't want to do this and you want him to be on time, but like this is to a certain extent who he is. And I think you kind of have to ask yourself, if everything else is great and wonderful, is this the end of the world? Certainly you want him to respect the things that are important to you. I'm not saying don't do that. And if you feel like he's put no effort and he's this is who I am, then that's a problem. But if he has put some effort in, then appreciate that. For situations like a wedding shower or something that your friend has a specific demand that you are there at a certain time, have you ever considered just going and leaving him behind and taking separate cars? I know you don't want that. And you were like, I want a boyfriend who's going to be on time for me and he's going to do, and you're probably obsessing over the fact that like, I shouldn't have to do that because I should have a boyfriend who's going to be ready when I ask him to do that. I get that, but is it really the end of the world? You know, is it the end of the world to just be like, he's just, this is who he is, but I need to be on time. And so I'm not going to stress out. So I'm going to go. For specific things where it's really important, where 10 minutes late is the end of the world to you, because for your own, like, just emotional and mental well-being, just don't then you completely relieve the stress of that day. You're going to be on time. He'll get there a little bit later than you. It'll be fine. And if everything else, and day-to-day stuff where you guys like, when he would normally be 30 minutes late, but now you're only 5 minutes late because he knows it's important to you, also kind of a win. If everything else about this guy is great, maybe trick him too. Like tell him if you have to be there at 10, tell him he has to be there at 9:30. I know that's not who you like, but you have to recognize, like you said, that's who you are, and he's different. He's never going to be you. So you can't equate him being just like you to him respecting you. You have to feel like he does value what's important to you, and then he is making some sort of effort on a regular basis. And if you feel like he is trying and he does give a shit about what you say, then I think that's good. You take separate cars and be like, and it will blow his mind the next time you have an event, right? Your friend wants you to like go on be there at a specific time, and you say, hey babe, you know what? Erica needs me to be there at 10. I don't want us. I'm just going to go. Just if you could get there, shortly after, that'd be great. But like, I'm just going to go and we'll be there. And you're super chill about it. Wow. I mean, it's going to blow his mind. He's going to think this is great. You never know. It might encourage him to be like, what? I'll go. I'll just be ready. That's silly. We don't need to take 2 cars. And he might do that little thing. Now, if that does happen, don't get mad at him and say, see, I know you could be ready on time, and throw it in his face. Just appreciate the good that happened in that moment, right? Because again, I know this is important to you, but if everything else in a relationship is great, like this is not the end of the world, right? I mean, if you listen to this podcast, there's a lot of people who have like some bigger issues that were showing up 10 minutes late to a bridal shower, So do what you can. And again, I'm not saying compromise, but like if you think deep down he does respect you and value, and he does care about your feelings, and he's making some efforts, that's a good thing. But like, don't sweat the small stuff, and if you have to take 2 cars once in a while so that you are on time and then you don't have to stress about it, that's a total option. I know it's not super green, but hey, it's fine. And you will be surprised. The more chill you are, the more he will be willing to surprise you with being tardy. I assure you of that. Yeah. Surprise him with how chill you can be. And you will be, I think, a little bit surprised on how much he might come around. But pick your battles with this stuff. Yeah. Don't be so like, he's got to do this. I want a guy who wants to do this. Like, sure, that's great. But like, come on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And we've come to that conclusion on certain things, like even him dropping me off to the airport. I will only take an Uber because I know he will run behind to get me there on time. And then I stress, and then I'm putting that stress on him. Happened one time where it was like, this isn't good. Yeah. So then I'm like, nope, I will just always Uber. It's not worth the argument.
Yeah. I mean,
same with like going to we talked about that, like whether to go together or not. And like, I know like a lot of these things, I would rather have him there with me and be 10 minutes late than not have him at all. So I definitely he wins out in these situations where I'm willing to try to be more flexible. I'm trying to be less rigid. And that's where the balancing of our personalities help. I've helped him become more prompt and punctual, but he's also been helping me relax. But
totally,
it's also I've been going to therapy for a few years. And also just one of those anxiety pieces that I talk about. And so that's where I've talked to my therapist about, I have to be true to myself. When I would tell him, yeah, let's leave around 1, and then we don't end up leaving till 1:45, and then I'm mad. That's not okay. I'm just being passive aggressive. So that's where I've worked on being very clear, communicating, hey, we need to leave by 3:20, very clear communication. So that's helped a lot. He's been super receptive. So I definitely am very grateful for that. So I agree. I just really, it's so innate in me to be punctual.
Yeah,
that it's just I don't want this to be the killer of the relationship. Us jumping down each other's throats that we're arguing and now we don't even want to go places together because it's going to be an argument to get out the door on time.
Totally. A couple things, maybe to think about as you, if you were to, someone would say, I'm going to introduce you to a guy. He's going to be amazing. You're going to think he's hot. He's going to be great. He's going to treat you great. He's going to treat you, respect you. But there's this one thing. He's not super prompt. And so everything's going to be great. But once in a while, you're going to have to, if you want to be in time for really important things, you're going to have to Uber. And my guess is you'd be like, yeah, sure. Everything else is great. I mean, he's amazing. He's going to treat me. Sex is great. Everything is great. But I have to Uber? Fine. You would be totally fine with it. Think about it think about it big picture in that regard. If you're type A, you're competitive, right? Don't think about win-loss. I'm assuming you're probably just well, if I did it this many times and he's done it once, you can't do that. You got to try to think big picture in what is really important. And again, is this the end of the world? Again, if the passive aggressive is only going to make him kind of resent you and then fight back and him be passive aggressive. I think a big key too is if you're going to take the Uber or if you're going to be late, don't be angry. I know that's hard to say, but the more chill you can be and the more you can just say, all right, fine. What I can control in this situation? What really matters to me? And again, you've been clear how important that punctuality is to you, and I respect that. I think it is too, but for him it's not. So you can't expect him to have the same passion and the same you can't expect him to value it just as much as you do. You want him to respect you, and so he is valuing it more than he would. Sounds like he's doing that. So when it's really that important, you just have to try to chill out and do what you need to be happy so that you're not stressed. The airport thing, great. Yeah. It's not the end of the world if, I'm an amazing husband or boyfriend, but I have to Uber myself to the airport. It's not the picturesque relationship that you would have described, but it's still probably pretty good. Pick your battles. And I think sometimes in relationships, we have a tendency of, finding things to fight about. It's well, this is really important to me and he doesn't do it and why? And I want him to want to, the movie, The Breakup with Jennifer Aniston. I want you to want to do lemons. I want you to want to do the dishes. I get that. And I understand the desire of wanting to be with someone who wants to make you happy. But, I'm guessing he does in a bunch of ways that he has shown you and you're maybe focused more on that. So try to focus on the positive and the negative. And again, this is assuming everything else is great. And yeah, pick your battles. But I think you're going to be fine. And try not to stress. And I try, if the biggest takeaway is try not to think about this as a win-loss thing for each situation. My guess is you probably do that a lot. And you probably think he's winning more than you.
Yeah, it's I was just kind of thinking about you can be right or you can be happy. And I don't want to be, I'm right in this situation. I just want us to be happy and come to the right kind of conclusion and compromise.
I think that's great. And I think that's probably harder for you to do than for him to do if you're the type A person that you say you are. So that's good self-awareness that you have that. But yeah, definitely pick your battles. And listen, if at some point you feel like you he's not respecting you and he's not going out of his way to do his part, that's a different story. But there's a difference between him doing his part and him doing exactly what you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's like, I can see the frustration and the unhappiness build in him when I'm getting stressed and we need to leave on time, and then he just goes and sits down and starts petting the dogs and saying goodbye to them, or just thinks of random things that need to get done.
Yeah, but
I'm like, oh my God, come on.
He values
and
that.
And then it just becomes,
So it's a balance.
It is. It definitely is.
Just think about what you would have said outside of this relationship if someone would have described a situation and you weren't as personally invested. I think you'd probably be surprised by the answer.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I can understand why he gets frustrated by me, and then I just start to feel like I'm acting like his mom, and then he's acting like a disdainful little child, and that's not fun. That's not how I want to make him feel either. So like the only thing I can really control for sure is obviously myself. And the more I can ease up on my anxieties or plan even like you said, plan in advance better for myself to take a separate car for the occasions that I know are important to someone else for me to be on time, then I can follow my process as I normally would.
Yep.
And then it just really kind of separates us from that.
I think you're on the right path. I think you're going to be fine.
Thanks, Stacy.
Thank you, guys.
All right, have a great day.
Bye.
Nate, welcome back to the show. How are you?
Thanks.
Rochelle says you have a bit of an update for us.
I have a bit of an update. I took your advice. I tried the t-shirt and jeans on dates. Felt a lot better for doing that. So thanks so much for guiding me there.
You look hot, Nate.
I got to say, he kind of looks like Nate looks a little bit like the president on the show Scandal. What's his name? He was in Ghost. Know. He was the bad guy in Ghost with long ago.
Oh, Tony Goldwyn.
So apparently someone's told, have people told you this? That you look
yes.
Like? Okay.
Oh.
I get Paul Rudd sometimes too, strangely. I don't understand.
Not so much Paul Rudd. But Tony Goldwyn,
well.
Yeah. Anyways, I like this hairdo. I like this t-shirt and jeans.
Yeah.
All right.
I decided, I'm on my lunch break, so I decided to just take off the dress shirt and try to relax a little bit here.
I love it. It's Tony's method.
You're a lawyer, right?
Yeah, he's a lawyer.
I am, yeah.
Yeah.
So what else? What's been going on?
Yeah, so I've tried to go on a couple dates while dressed in the t-shirt and jeans, and I felt better about myself in general, which is nice. But I'm still not really vibing with these women I'm going out with. A lot of them, they live busy lives too. I went out with a couple of news producers who were kind of fitting me in between their appointments. Mm-hmm. So, I guess I'm very scheduled and very structured, as you keep telling me. But I feel like I keep going out with a lot of very structured women who aren't necessarily, open to relaxing with me sometimes.
That was a first question that came up, and maybe the next step is figuring out who you're going on dates with. Also, here's the thing, Nate. I think on my question with Nick, someone asked, 1 out of 10 dates that you go on where you feel like a legitimate connection with someone is probably pretty good. It's pretty successful. It's like 10%, as you would know, I'm assuming, as the lawyer.
Yeah.
So obviously you're this is a focus of yours. It's a priority of yours. And so you're and there's nothing you can do about that. And that's great. But maybe you're doing everything right. And now it's just a matter of, keep on doing what you're doing. You're a unique man. I think that's a great thing. Yeah, listen, you're quirky, you're a little nerdy, you're structured. There's a lot of chicks who are into that,
I'm just not, and I don't know.
Yeah, and it's probably, I could tell you to say, you try to relax and be more chill on dates, but there's probably a limit to how chill Nate can be. It might come across as inauthentic for you to be like, hey, really...
alter ego.
I don't think Rick, being suave is in your repertoire, and that's fine.
Especially since my whole thing is like, I'm really trying to get serious now. Like, I've done the casual thing for a really long time. I'm really good at, 2-3 days trying to feel someone out, and sometimes the sparks are there and sometimes there aren't. But I guess I'm more of a control freak at this stage of my life. I just like to move to the next level already.
But here's the thing, Nate. It's just because you are ready to, not casually date and you're ready to be serious, it doesn't need to change how you date, especially early on. You know what I'm saying? The difference is if you find someone that you want to see where it goes, then you are committed to seeing where it goes rather than, still saying yes to a bunch of other dates with other people. It doesn't mean you need to get more intense. It doesn't mean you need to ask more intense questions. It doesn't mean you need to necessarily check in with them earlier than you otherwise would. I think sometimes that's a mistake that people make. It's like, well, I'm ready to get serious now. So in the first couple dates, everything's serious. It should still be easygoing and chilled and relax. And if you go on a bunch of different dates with women where you don't have a spark the first couple dates, that just means that you maybe just don't have a spark with that person. What you don't want to do is meet someone where first couple dates are pretty good, first date's pretty good, and then you kind of freak them out with all these questions about the future and your expectations and what you want to do.
My pattern. Yep.
Yeah, and that's.
Yeah, I'll probably drop in. So I'm like, I'm going to be seeing my cousin's kids this weekend. How do you feel about kids in general? And that's just not necessarily where people want to go.
You definitely shouldn't do that, and especially knowing that you are who you are and the control freak and that you want to ask that question, you should wait extra long. Because whenever you want to ask it, it definitely is much farther in the future. And also, those things can come out organically. I mean, listen. The truth is, I think it's safe to say, Rochelle, would you agree that if you go on a couple dates with someone, a woman, if a guy goes on dates with a woman for a few dates, and she's interested in having kids at some point, she'll probably find a way to have it come up in conversation.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
If you go on a date, I know you want kids someday, right?
I don't know if I want kids.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Okay. If you. Okay, but I think in my experience of dating, I
thought it was weird. One guy I was dating, he was like, "Do you want to have kids?" And I was like, "I'm not sure." And he's like, "Well, I want a woman who's gonna take care of my kids." And then
that's weird.
And then he ended it. I felt like it was an excuse to not date me.
Why do you think that was an excuse?
Well, he's a notorious.
I mean, yeah, I don't know that.
Anyway. But
I think it's a weird thing to say regardless.
I don't like talking about it in the beginning, but I could be.
Well, I don't think. What I'm saying is, I think if it's a priority, I think people have a way of bringing things up that are a priority for them too, and I think it comes across a little more aggressive if men ask that question early on.
Yeah, it feels.
And I just think a lot of women talk about wanting to have kids. Not everyone, but some do. And I'm just saying, if you're dating someone who's open to having kids, I just think it'll trust me, I think it will come up before you need to ask. I don't when was the last time, Nate, that you've been on a fourth date with someone?
Oh boy, almost a year ago now. I remember.
Okay, so every date you've been on before?
She criticized me for not being that affectionate or not being that forward with her. So that's why I've been trying to change course since that.
Well, okay, that's just one person, but you can be affectionate without drilling them about they want to have kids. I guess what I'm saying is, if you've asked anyone if they want to have kids in the past year in any date you've been on, you've asked them too soon. I mean, you haven't been on any fourth dates. I know you're a busy guy, but your time's not so valuable that you can't go on a third date with someone only to find out they don't want to have kids. Yeah.
Well, especially when I'm dating older women too. I know I hate using the age thing as a demarcation point, but I get women in their later 30s and earlier 40s. I'd rather figure it out sooner rather than later, so I'm not wasting her time. Well,
yeah, but Nate, I think I think there's is it safe to assume there's a lot of women, especially in DC where you're living, who have been more focused on their careers and have been less traditional, and they didn't have kids and get married when everyone else was quote unquote doing it at the mid-20s. Doesn't mean they don't want to have kids. They could very easily be ready to have kids in the early to mid late 30s. A lot of people are doing that now.
Yeah, so there's a lot of workarounds, and
you're making a lot of assumptions that are getting you into a rabbit hole, and probably. you're asking the type of women who invested in their careers and it is a priority to them and probably have gotten a lot of what seems like very insensitive questions that you are asking them and you're turning them off. They're probably become sensitive because a lot of guys have been like, well, so you're 33, you haven't had kids. Do you even want to have kids? And they feel very judged by that. And you're probably the 30th guy who has done that. I think you need to, for a guy who hasn't been on any fourth dates in the past year, anyone you've asked is too soon. It'll work itself out. Also, people can change too. Like if you find the right person, you don't know, who knows? A lot of people, I don't know if I want to have kids. It's less traditional than someone be like, I definitely want to have kids. I'm very adamant about I want to have kids, but just because someone says they're like uncertain doesn't mean they never will. They just want to meet the right person too. It might not be a top priority, but you drilling them about it is not going to make them want to have it with you. But yes, you don't know, stop assuming you know what you want with people you don't know. You don't know these people. You don't know these women. You don't know what they really want. You get a little bit of excitement and then
That's how I feel like even with the kids thing, it's like if you meet the right person or the situation is different, how can you possibly really know at the beginning? That's my opinion. I know some people no, but it's like...
Everyone's different, right?
Yeah.
For me, I say I want to have kids and I'm like, well, if it came to it, it's not ideal. I would have a kid on my own. Mm-hmm. That's my personal choice. Yeah. Rochelle's like, I don't know. And I mean, we haven't really talked about it, but I'm assuming maybe a lot has to do with, well, if I meet someone I want to have a kid with, then I will be open to it. But if I don't, I'm fine with not.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so you're not, if you met someone like Rochelle who had that mindset, you're not doing yourself any favors to convince that you're the person she'd want to have kids with by drilling her and making her feel judged and insecure about being less traditional than, the girls who had kids at 25, 26. So, and my guess is you might have a way of making women feel like they need to live up to your expectations by drilling in questions.
That asshole, yeah.
Yeah, and the little bit we've talked, Nate, you seem like a really genuine, nice guy.
Yeah, you're not an asshole.
You're not, but they don't know that you're not an asshole. They just start getting a bunch of questions, and you just might remind them of the last asshole they dated. And so just enjoy the moment, Nate. Just don't... Don't give your spark of excitement about someone that much validation, just, I'm having a good time with her. Do you want to, should we get dessert now that we've had a nice time at dinner? That should be your focus. That's your question. Not, do you want to have kids? Do you want to get another drink? That's it. This is a really nice moment, I think you got to really try to simplify your questions. And make it really kind of benign, some of your questions. You have no problem asking the serious questions, so you're never going to be the guy, ever, where she's just like, we have great conversations, but we don't talk about anything serious. That will never be you, Nate. No girl's ever going to complain about you never wanting to talk about serious things.
What's the last girl you really liked? What was she like?
Gosh, yeah. So about a week ago, I went out with someone. Yeah, we had coffee, and then we went out for dessert afterwards.
Ooh.
And I just thought we hit it off really well. And she was leaving to head out of the country for a little bit. She should be back soon. And I said, well, let's just touch base when you get back and see where things go. So I tried to keep it.
But what about her? What about her did you like?
Just very friendly, very personable. Professional, those types of things. Yeah.
So anyone.
I'm going through the checklist again.
I'm trying to figure out what your type is.
I don't think Nate knows.
Yeah.
I think Nate's type is not a criminal who he finds attractive and likes him back.
What's your pecker pick?
Pecker pick?
What does your pecker want to pick?
What kind of porn do you watch, Nate? Is what Rochelle.
No.
Yeah, the brain. I want there.
But yeah, all jokes aside, you're like a lot of us who've, down on your luck on dating. And so you're just a little anxious and I feel like you're not necessarily your standards of it's the standards of who you're willing to have that initial spark with are probably lower than you're used to having. And then it's like you flip it. It's like your willingness to kind of have that initial spark with someone is kind of pretty open to anyone. And then once you feel that, then you like try to jump a bunch of steps and then make sure, see if they're the one. It's like, well, she seems fine. She's nice. I don't know. Yeah.
Like,
so do you want to have kids? And
all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah. And so you just slow down, man. And, I just get a vibe for, I just don't think in your case, one date, don't spend a lot of time figuring out like what you think about them, or just think about, did you have a nice time? Yeah, I think you're always going to struggle with that, and that's okay. But be mindful of that. Is that like you just need to try to be in the moment and relax. You're a handsome guy. You're a sweet guy. You mean well. You're successful. It's just
I just don't present that asking a bunch of questions, right?
I think you have a tendency of making the women you on dates with fairly anxious, because you have an anxious energy and you want answers right away, and that's probably the lawyer in you. And you're just gonna always have to constantly try to, breathe a little bit and just focus on. I wouldn't even focus on whether you're going on a second date. It's more like, first ask yourself, are you having a nice time? And if you are...
Yeah, for our first date, I'm constantly thinking about, what am I going to do to set the groundwork for a second date?
No.
That's hard.
Get to the first date, Nate. You're thinking about date 2. They know nothing about you, Yeah. So focus on that.
And I'm not really opening up much about myself on the dates either, because I'm so focused on finding out about her. So I should just share a little bit more about myself to her.
I think you should try to treat your dates like casual conversations with someone you met on the bus with zero expectations. You're going with so many expectations, and then it's just probably written on your shirt. Just, order her a drink, ask her about the drink, talk about why you liked your drink. I don't know. Just keep it real light, man. Because shit is heavy, I'm assuming, on your dates. All right.
All right, thanks so much.
I'm sure you'll check back in. Best of luck, buddy. We're rooting for you.
All right, I'll keep working. Thanks for your guidance, and thanks for check in with me.
It's going to happen. You look good.
You look great.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, Nate.
Take it. Bye.
It's good to hear from Nate. He looks good.
Hot.
I think this
hot.
call reminded me of, I kind of said it, where, we gave Nate some advice a couple months ago, kind of similar advice. And that's the thing is, we'll hear advice and we'll be like, yeah, and then we'll maybe work on it for a moment and then we'll forget about it.
Yeah.
But there's certain things that we'll always have to work, will always be our weaknesses.
Right.
And those weaknesses will probably never be our strengths. And so we'll always kind of have to be mindful of them. And
the fact that his dating coach did email us made me think like you said, anxious energy of like, how can I make this happen? I'm going to put all my resources into making this happen.
Yeah. He's so pot committed on having a second date. But yeah, also interesting takeaway about the whole asking women about wanting to have kids and who you're asking. Yeah,
for me it's a little bit like, well, we don't even really know each other yet.
Well, yeah, and again, I think the way he described, like Nate's in his late 30s, and he sounds like he's dating women similar to his age in a town where it's very common for men and women to both be focused on their professions.
Yeah.
And he's probably asking a lot of women who have been asked that a lot throughout their professional career, and they have decided to be non-traditional, if traditional is being 25, 26 and having kids.
Yeah.
And they're probably just sick of the fucking question.
Yeah.
And that's why I was saying, like, let it just, God, man, you're so far away from getting the answer to that question. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, as much as it's important to me, I don't ask that question. I don't, like, it tends to come up it comes up. I don't know. I get asked a lot. I mean, I think part of it too is like, I'll get asked, I think you would eventually ask too if you liked a guy, right?
I don't know.
I just think it comes up at the appropriate time, some of those type of questions. And people have this way
And
of
I can't get guys to say they're my boyfriend, so they're not going to say they want to have kids with me. That's for sure.
sure. Well,
It's this town. No one wants to commit.
there is that too.
Yeah.
I think you're selling yourself short. But anyway, it is this town. But yes, I just think there's this mentality that we seem to all have. It was, I don't want to waste anyone's time. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste their time.
Right.
And so it's just like, yeah, but is our time so? We keep going on all these first and second dates.
Yeah.
And we're not meeting anyone, but yet our time's so valuable that we need to like pre-screen these people before our third date because a fourth date with someone is so. Oh my God, I need to know that they're forever.
Yeah.
And
Where's the romance in that?
Yeah, we all do that. I think Nate is probably notorious for that, but I think a lot of us do that where we are unwilling to go on the fifth, sixth, or seventh date because we've asked them all these. We need to know. It's like just keep it light and chill.
Yeah.
Again, how do you really know you want to spend someone or have kids with someone if you don't know some of their secrets and some of their insecurities and some of these things that when you really connect with someone?
Yeah.
And who's going to share that on a third or fourth date?
Yeah.
Not many people.
Yeah.
Other than like, especially for the people who are like on the fence about having kids.
Yeah.
So, and to your point, it doesn't mean they're not having kids.
Yeah.
It just means they're not the person who's like, of course I want 3 or 4 kids on a fence. Like,
right.
Fine. I don't know. Good luck, Nate. All right, Sydney. How are you?
I am doing well. How are you guys?
So good. Thanks for asking. What's your question?
Okay. So, my boyfriend, we've been together for a long time. He's a wonderful person.
Great.
He goes to the gym a lot. He's a big gym person. He's really muscular. He's very in shape, very health conscientious. And I, on the other hand, I don't go to the gym. I don't work out. The most activity I get is at work. I walk a lot. I do. And I stretch occasionally. But pretty much my boyfriend has made some comments in the past indicating that he would like for me to work out and specifically do squats. And
okay.
So I reacted to that emotionally, and I felt like it made me feel like he didn't love me and wasn't attracted to me the way I am. And it made me feel like I had to change my body to please him. And it just really upset me. And I guess that's my question is, should I not look at that emotionally? And you see what I'm saying?
No, I do. It's a tough question. How old are you guys?
So I'm 25
Okay.
and he's about to turn 27.
Okay. You're not that young. It's a tough one. I mean, listen, you have the right to feel however you want. When it comes to how you feel emotionally, I'm a huge believer. I'll say it over and over. I'll keep saying it. You can't help how you feel. You can
Right.
control how you react, right? So how you feel is that's how you feel. Whatever he said made you feel judged, probably. It maybe made you feel insecure.
Yeah.
He wants that booty. It sounds like,
Yeah, he does.
So a couple things, right? I mean, it all just depends how he says it. Like, do I think I'm not defending that he made you feel that way. I don't know him. I don't know your relationship.
Right.
I don't think him suggesting that maybe you could squat is like the worst thing he could say, or he's now some objectifying boyfriend. I mean, if that's all he said, then, listen, if he especially is a really big fitness guy, I mean, fitness guys could be people who are into fitness. When I was younger, just to, put it out there, I ran track in college. I was big into fitness, and my very first girlfriend, I was 18, 19, 20. So I was pretty young, ignorant, and kind of didn't know how to talk. She didn't work out at all. She was also a bit lazy. And when and I'm not saying that's you, but for me, I was always, I was always staying in shape and I was always trying to look, my physical best. But in fairness to me, I was comfortable with that. I was so used to that. It was easy for me to work out because I've always worked out. I had the advantages of not only, I might have a high metabolism, but minus that, I knew how to work out. And that is a skill that people don't always get comfortable with. Some people enjoy it more than others. It's not your thing.
Right.
So in that sense, there's a disconnect there. My guess is you probably feel extra sensitive because it's important to him, the working out thing. It's not something that you're comfortable with. And so it's more like, asking you to squat is like something you feel like you need to do. And then there's this whole kind of subconscious thing. Have you talked to him about it?
Okay, so it actually got brought up today.
Okay.
Because of this, and he defended himself from back when it got brought up. But he said today, I don't feel that way. Of course, he would love for me to work out with him. He would love that, and I know he would like to do that. It's just not my thing. But he said, okay, because part of it has to do with the fact that I think that he used to have a fear that I was going to, quite frankly, become bigger throughout the years. There were some comments made in the past. My mom is a big lady, and there were some comments made in the past that maybe he was scared that I was going to be like my mom one day. And
he said that?
It just really hurt my feeling. Roundabout. He didn't.
Sure, that's understandable.
He didn't, say that frankly, but it was roundaboutly kind of said. But today, when it got brought up, he said, "I don't feel that way anymore." He said, He said, even if you were to be bigger one day, I would still love you. I'm going to love you no matter what. And he made me feel better today.
Okay.
So this is more kind of a past issue. And I don't know if he was just trying to make me feel better today or, I don't know. I'm sensitive and I kind of let it, get to me. And I do agree that I think it's more of him just wanting me to be healthy.
It's a touchy subject. There's no, I don't know if even Rochelle and I would agree. It's such a sensitive subject, right? It doesn't make a guy or a girl a monster because to want their partner to want to be in shape, to take care of themselves. Everyone's different. I went to the grocery store yesterday and I see this couple walk in. They both look like they live at the gym, and you can tell without knowing anything about them. That's something they have in common. Right. Other people are different. And when you have kind of that opposing thing, it can, whether men or women, it can, for me, I like people who are motivated in general. I'm attracted to women who are like, whether that's work or whatever, whether it's, I'm also not attracted to people who are super physically fit, but I just like someone who I feel like is going to take care of themselves. That is an attractive quality for me. I'll admit I've dated women in the past who didn't like working out, and it made me, especially when I was younger, wonder you look great now, but you never seem to want to take care of yourself. And what's that going to look like in 10 to 15 years? Have I thought that to myself? Sure. Yeah, I have. It's all about communication, really. Again, he can't help but wonder that. And he's trying to figure out how to talk to you about this. You have the right to do whatever you want and not feel judged in any relationship that you're in. It's a touchy subject.
Talking about her butt specifically.
I'm not defending that.
I know that's easy to react to.
Oh, totally.
Because as women, we're just under such, from the time that we're small, all of these messages that our bodies aren't okay.
Yeah, that totally. Again, there's a historical element to it. I can't necessarily, I don't know what it's like to be a woman in that sense. Yeah. But he might mean it something as simple as a guy, as a gym guy.
Yeah.
you read articles as guys, you read articles all the time about what do you like on a guy? Oh, I like a guy with a defined chest or arms. I really like defined arms or a butt or whatever.
Right.
And guys will then be like, oh, I'm going to do some curls and stuff like that. And so, especially as a guy from him, if he's a big gym guy, he's literally thinking, I want to have good arms for girls. So he's doing curls and he's pumping up and he's literally thinking, well, if I want bigger arms, I'll do curls. And so that's how his brain is thinking. So I get why it's a sensitive issue and it's not easy to, and I'm not defending it, but I'm just saying from his point of view, he might just be naive and he might not realize how sensitive an issue it is. And he's thinking, all right, squats get a more defined butt. What if you do that? And he just threw it out there, not realizing how you might take it.
Like a personal trainer would tell someone who hired them.
Right?
It's different than like telling your girlfriend to.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, again, as a guy, we read we see this.
Yeah.
We hear from women about what they like on a guy too. And I get it. It's not the same. Historically, women have been more objectified by their bodies. And when men get objectified by their bodies, they probably don't care as much. I mean, they're not as sensitive to it. It hasn't been something that we've had to live up to. It's just like, oh, bigger arms, I'll go do some curls. And so it sounds like from you, he seems to be at least respectful of the fact that he did hurt your feelings and recognizes it.
He is.
It would be more of a red flag to me if he got super defensive and very dismissive of your feelings. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, if he was like, oh, well, whatever, I didn't mean it like that, and whatever, you should do this stuff, and he like doubled down, because some people do that. They'll get defensive and then like bury himself a deeper hole by saying, well, you should squat, and here's why. And so, yeah, I think that's, it's good that it seems like you guys can communicate. And when it comes to body issues and things like that in a relationship, it's a very touchy subject, and it's very challenging to communicate.
And a lot of times women have a history the men aren't aware of, like maybe eating stuff, and so it brings up a lot of feelings. I mean,
and then you mentioned your mother, and like, I don't know if that's a sensitive issue for you. Just to throw it out there, like, I know you're not a big gym person and you don't love working out, but do you like hate it with a passion where you're not willing to like once in a while do something a little bit with him? Like, are you just adverse to trying it? Because I will say squats are a great exercise just in general. Like, it has nothing to do with, I don't care what your butt looks like, but hey, it's a healthy exercise.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I would not be opposed to working out with him, or I guess it's just the way he went about it.
Totally.
I would have loved
100%.
for him to have been like, hey, why don't you come with me today to the gym? And I might have been like, sure, and
totally. You might have been, but would you?
I think it would mean a lot to him if I did go with him. I think he looks at it like a team thing, and like
totally.
I think it would make him happy if I went with him, and that's something that I would be willing to do for him.
Yeah, and you might get used. I mean, is it safe to say you really have no experience with working out on a regular basis?
It is safe to say I have no experience.
and
that's scary.
And minus the fact that you don't like it, it's a skill. You're not used to it, or you don't know what it's like. Like I said, as a kid, I was always active. So for me, while sometimes working out, I don't want to, and it can hurt and it's painful, I'm used to that feeling, and I've gotten used to it. And that's something you can learn. Right. I'm not telling you to do that or not, but it sounds like...
No, I would be willing. Yeah. I really would be willing to, and I could probably use some cardio and that stuff. So
that's entirely up to you. It's a healthy thing to stay in shape, sure.
Right.
I just think when it comes to these things, in a relationship, you're going to say things to each other that hurt sometimes. And that's not necessarily okay, but it doesn't make you guys monsters, and you have the right to be sensitive. You have also the right to say, hey, babe, that hurt my feelings. And then how they respond to that is a really big indicator of the health of your relationship and communication, and whether there's red flags or things to really worry about. It doesn't sound like maybe you have a lot to worry about in terms of you guys' ability to communicate. You just got to try to find a common ground. Him not saying insensitive things to you in the future. Now he realizes that you're sensitive about that. And then again, on a separate note, if he enjoys working out and you're willing to try it with him, don't let you being defensive about this almost kind of be even more resistant to it. Like, well, I feel sensitive and you don't love me for me, so I'm going to like refuse to do this.
Right.
That's not healthy to do that. Don't be spiteful. But as long as you're able to communicate your hurt feelings and he recognizes it, and then you try to get on the same page, because you're right, he should ask in a different way. And there was a better way to ask. I have said things in the past that were insensitive, whether I was trying to be insensitive or not. You just, men and women see things differently. We react differently. We don't realize your history.
We're human.
Even in relationships. I mean, unless you're telling every little dark thing and insecurity that you have, how are they going to know? So the more you guys talk about that, the better it's going to be.
Well, I feel better. Actually, I do. Because I have a problem with just thinking emotionally and forgetting about
That's not a problem.
Rational. And he's really good about just thinking very clearly and being level-headed and being logical and rational. And I think with my emotions a lot. And so I do see his point of view, and I could give a little and maybe go work out with him sometime.
Yeah.
So
if you want to,
I appreciate it.
Don't apologize for being emotional. I don't think that's necessarily a problem. You being emotional that's who you are. And men tend to be maybe slightly more logical, not always. Then
for sure, yeah.
I don't mean like and just how we think, right? Like, right? Is that safe to say, Rochelle, or we have a problem with this?
I don't know. I don't like generalizations like that personally, but
again, not a hard and fast rule, but again, whatever. Maybe not. But all I'm saying is, don't apologize for being emotional. It's good to be aware of how you communicate and how you respond in your feelings, and then share that. And so if you feel like you're getting so emotional that you're kind of losing control of your feelings, just be mindful of that so that you can communicate better. But I don't think it's something you need to apologize for. Just like someone doesn't need to apologize for being maybe over analytical or a little too even keel, because sometimes, well, that sounds nice, that can be an obnoxious thing in a fight. So it's just good to understand how you guys communicate and then go from there.
I agree with you. I really do.
Cool.
And I agree with you completely, and I really appreciate it.
Well, good luck. I wish you both the best, and have a great day.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Rochelle. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Yeah, touchy subject.
Very, very, very touchy.
Yeah, we've talked about body issues in the past.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things, too, where, listen, men and women. I mean, I have women friends who are dating guys who they stopped looking how they looked when they first started dating.
Right.
And they got lazy and they gained weight, and the women didn't like it. Mm-hmm. And so how do you communicate that without making the other defensive defensive?
And sometimes it's not laziness. There's like mental health issues.
There is all those. There is that too.
Health, like
yes.
Yeah.
And again, to your point, women, pregnancy, right?
Yeah.
Again, I am not a doctor, but is it safe to say that women, from a biology standpoint, it's as they get older, it seems to be, there's more things going on with your bodies that I'm not aware of.
It's a lot harder to maintain what you look like when you were 23 or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as a result, like I get, don't get, but I understand that women have been put on blast more than men have in the past.
Yeah.
And that can be very challenging to do. And how to communicate that in a relationship is
and maybe it's like a boundary, like, hey, I don't want you talking about my body in a negative way. We could talk about health, we could talk about working out, but not like my body.
But it's kind of like how you talk about it too is, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
I think early in a relationship, it's good to establish those boundaries.
Right.
If it's like, let's say you were in a relationship and you dated some jerk who constantly did and objectified you. And so you're super sensitive. So the next person you date, be like, listen, I just need to let you know that like, I'm, and he's just like, yeah, no problem. Like maybe he just doesn't care. It's just, I'm not a big gym guy. I stay in shape, but if the way she describes her boyfriend, like a guy who's there hours a day, he's just literally like curls, arms, squats, butt, like legs, lunges.
Yeah,
he's just literally like, well, just do this. And,
it kind of reminds me of Clay and Angela, how she said he talked about her not going to the gym.
My first girlfriend, I remember, her freshman year, and it had nothing to do with her mom. Her mom was kind of a total babe, to be honest, and
you love moms.
I like beautiful women. It was super hot. And she her freshman year gained a lot of weight her freshman year.
As we all did.
That freshman, what did they call it? Freshman 15.
It's a real thing.
Toppers pizza stick. She was ordering every night.
Start eating Panda Express for every meal.
I remember as like an 18-year-old, I was like, well, like I put like a workout plan together for her. And I'm looking back now and being like, wow, what an asshole. And she kind of like mentioned it, but I kind of like, she showed the slightest bit of interest. And I really went like, and I'll admit, like it was like, she talked about how she didn't like it, and I was just like, Jesus, man, you just keep eating pizza, you keep doing that, like, and it bothered me. I didn't know how to communicate then, and I was unaware of like, how do I talk about this? I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a sensitive thing, so I think just putting it out there is the best to do it. Yeah. And if you've someone, I think it's the biggest takeaway is if you're in a relationship and it's ultimately healthy, and someone says something that hurts your feelings, it's okay to acknowledge that. It doesn't make them a monster. Right. How they respond to you, acknowledge your feelings being hurt is probably more important than what they said at first.
Oh, that's so beautiful. What a beautiful takeaway.
Thanks, Rochelle. well, update from Nate. What else did we talk about today, Rochelle?
We talked about the really on the dot woman who the type A dating a type B.
Pick your battles, man. But I mean, is it the mundaneness of relationships? It's like we love them but we hate them.
Right? Yeah, our body, like some part of our brain, like doesn't want to be happy.
So sick of you. There's probably a little bit of that.
Yeah, maybe.
Right? But I think it's. You want them to want to do things, and like sometimes in relationships, like that there's definitely a difference between feeling like someone respects your differences and goes out of their way to try to make you happy, and does everything you want the way you want to do that, and has the same passion. Yeah, I think so many people will be like, well, I want you to want to do it as much as I want to do it. Hey, just be happy I'm here, man. Like. To a certain degree, right? Yeah. Like there's certain things where it's just like I can't expect a girl to be as invested in a football game as I am.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's really my top priority, then I need to pick that early in the dating process.
Yeah.
Right? Where Stacy here, was it Stacy? Mm-hmm. Like I kind of said, it's just like, well, if you started dating someone early on, like she would never be like, I have to date someone who's as punctual as I am.
Right.
But yet now in her relationship, she is acting as if that is priority number one. So yeah, I think sometimes the mundaneness of relationships get us down, but that's with the small stuff. Yeah. And man, guys, stop making feeling women pressured about having kids. Let it go. Anything else? I don't know. Fun episode. Thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to send in your questions at asknick@castmedia.com. Rate us 5 stars on iTunes if you so feel like it, or not. I don't know. We always appreciate you listening. Until next time, it's been it's been wild, it's been crazy. See you on Wednesday. Have a great day.